Cool, welcome to the stream. So today we are going to be building a prediction engine, basically. So what we're going to be building is we're going to pit various LLMs against each other and get them to come up with their own prediction engine for betting on sports events. We're going to start with just football for the moment. And we're going to get the LLMs to build their own prediction engine based on whatever stats they think are important. We're then going to wire it up to Polymarket, and we are going to get the LLMs to bet on Polymarket and see which one can either win the most money or most likely lose the least amount of money. And we can probably make this a continuous thing, so we can make the LLM kind of update itself, update its own engine based on the results, and basically we can kind of have a living, breathing competition against the LLMs. And maybe we can even have like a stream picks where we compete against the LLMs and see who is better. The idea behind this is just to see whether LLMs can, actually do something interesting rather than just write code, whether we can actually get them to beat the betting markets. I'm not hopeful, but it'll be an interesting little project, and we'll see how far we can get with it. Okay, so last night I built a little tool. It's not a particularly interesting tool, I don't think, that much. So you need to go to LLM competition prediction, open up Claude. It's basically this little tool that, in theory, allows us to follow the actual flows that we were talking about for kind of research, planning, incrementing on the planning, bug fixing, and that kind of stuff. So just trying to be a bit more structured with the way that we actually vibe code. So hopefully this works. I've not used it yet, so we will see exactly how it works. I don't know why it needs pip at this point. Nothing is related to pip. Why do you need pip? It's a globally installed local npm package that I've installed globally. Please use that instead. Yes, you can do that. Should be there. Yeah, so in terms of the, let me just get a new window on this one as well. How do we do it? We want to split down. Oh, we've already got one actually. We can close that window. How do we close a window in Ghosty? Oh, that's not what I wanted, but okay. Let's just do it this way instead then. Search for whatever pilot. Okay, npm ls-g. Okay, so we haven't actually installed it. cd vibe flows. So this is the kind of MCP little server stuff that I built last night. It should be installed globally, so I don't quite know why it's not. Still doesn't seem to be. Full deprecated progress, failed to create no such file directory. Okay, let's see why we get that. Not entirely sure what's going on there. P npm just gls. I mean, it doesn't say that it's actually installed. but it's a local package, so oh, what happened to Texty Talkie? Did it break? Let's open up Texty Talkie again and get it to actually use that. It's still a local package. I've not deployed it to npm yet. It doesn't seem to want to install from the repository. How do I do this? Why does it want to do? Like, the path is this. Still seems to be failing. I don't quite understand. What's the actual error? So some deprecated subdependencies, failed to create, no such directory, lib, pnpm. I don't care why it cares about superbase and stuff. No, it still doesn't seem to be working. Can we just not use pnpm and just use normal npm? Maybe that'll work. God's sake, what is going on? Does not seem to want to do it. Oh yeah, it is aliased. Okay. So hello, welcome to the stream. We're just trying to fix something locally for this little vibe flows tool that I built last night. The idea being that it will help us work a bit better with Claude and stuff. And once we've done that, we're going to start building the betting engine. Hopefully this works now. Okay, so it seems to have it. Good. Okay, so we're working now, right. Yep, so we're going to use Boris's feature, which is the kind of research plan, increment phase. Let me just give Claude permissions to do all this stuff, so I don't have to keep doing it. How do we do that? Cannot remember. Claude, what is it? Settings? Yeah, settings. That's what we need. Settings.json. And we'll give it permission for work flow pilot. Yes, okay. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions, get involved with the chat and the stream. Okay, so we're in the research phase. Okay, so basically the idea behind this kind of prediction engine stuff that we're going to be building is that we're going to have the various different LLMs. So we can have Claude, we can have Gemini, or any other kind of other LLM that we want to use. We're then going to feed it some instructions and get it to build out its own prediction engine based on some structure of sports statistics that we can provide it. We will then kind of fetch the latest games that are going to be played, pass in the statistics that it needs for its prediction. It will then come up with a prediction. We will then get the result of the prediction once the game is run after we've placed a bet via Polymarket. And the LLM will then update its prediction engine based on the results and try and kind of incrementally improve itself. And maybe we can make some money from this. I doubt that's going to be the case, but that's kind of the idea. So what I'm going to do now is going to explain to Claude what the idea behind the application is, and then we can get it to start to plan out the architecture and the way that we're actually going to build it. So we're going to be building an LLM prediction engine for sports betting on Polymarket. So the idea is that we can have different LLMs build out their own prediction engine in code, taking in a structure of sports statistics and perhaps fixtures and stuff. It will then run the code itself, come up with a prediction for that particular game or games. We will then place a bet on Polymarket via the API based on that prediction. We'll then get the results of those predictions, and the LLM will then update its code if it thinks it needs to based on the result of that prediction. The idea is that we're going to be basically pitting the LLMs against each other to see which one can hopefully beat the betting prediction market. Let's go ahead and start to come up with some research around what we need to do this. Obviously, we need the Polymarket API. We need a sports statistics API as well, probably. And let's start to think about the architecture that we need for the project itself and how we're going to actually build this. So we're going to need some kind of instructions document so that when we create a new LLM, we can pass it. It can then build its own code. We'll need the structure of the statistics as well to pass in. So that needs pretty strongly typed, I would suggest. And then we need some way to create the actual code. Let's see what we can come up with there. So I'm not sure I explained that particularly well, but we'll see what Claude can do. Hopefully it can start to come up with some interesting ideas. I've kind of got an idea of the architecture of it in my head anyway. I did kind of spitball with Claude a little bit yesterday. Yeah, it could go look at Polymarket. So yeah, and then the interesting thing about this one is that I think it's quite a good one for perhaps getting some audience into the channel as well. So we can do kind of TikTok shorts and YouTube shorts around the results and kind of what we're doing and how it's working. No, we don't need the odds API, I don't think. I don't think we need the odds API at all. Actually, that's not work. Yes, it can do that. Yes. Yes. I don't think we need the odds API at all. I think it will just come from Polymarket. So only betting side of things will be on Polymarket, and then we just need the sports statistics basically. So yeah, I did come up with this one, I think. So this was my little chat with Claude yesterday, just kind of asking about it, trying to find out whether there are actually any free sites that provide the data that we're going to need. Because ideally we want the LLM to kind of have some statistics around the data and stuff, and then it can use those things and try and work out what it thinks is the best thing for the actual prediction engine itself. So I guess we'll start with kind of like the Premier League and stuff, if that's available here. Football. I don't think this was the one I looked at yesterday, but so what is it? That's not what I wanted. Sports Radar, maybe. It's not going to be ESPN. Maybe it's football data. No. Maybe it was this one. Okay, yeah, no, sorry, it was this one. So I think this is the one we can say we'll get it to use. Yeah, that's fine. I guess so. I think the sports data. I think the sports data API should be this one. I've given you permission again 50 times for that. How many times do you need permission? The sports data API should be this one. So I'm not sure what it's actually doing here. It's not really giving me much information about what it's actually doing. Like, I don't get why it's running. Why it's doing this. It shouldn't need. I don't get what it's right. Can you please explain what you're doing? We shouldn't be running any Python code or. Oh, God's sake, this is really frustrating, actually. Can you please explain what you're doing? You shouldn't be running any Python code or anything yet. We're just in a research phase. There's no need to be running Python code against Polymarket or anything like that. So this is one thing I don't like is when it spawns multiple agents and you just get loads of stuff happening. And it's not clear at all what's going on or why it's doing those particular things. Hey, Pjama Lama. Yeah, so we're going to be using Polymarket as the source of our bets. What we're building is basically going to be a prediction engine for the various LLMs to use. So the idea behind it is that we can pit the LLMs against each other, give them access to Polymarket to make bets, give it access to the data for the various sporting events, so like player statistics and all that kind of stuff. We'll get the LLM to write its own prediction engine based on the stats that we have available and the data and stuff. And then when a new match appears, we will get the LLMs to make their predictions. They will make their prediction. It will then place the bet on Polymarket. We will then obviously get the results of those bets, see which LLM is kind of winning or losing the least if they can't make any money. And then we'll have another step in it at the end where the LLM can either go and update its prediction engine or keep it as is, just to kind of fine tune it and see which one can ideally make the most money. My guess is basically which one's probably going to lose the least amount of money, but that's the plan. So I'll probably give each one like $50 on Polymarket and see what we get, basically. We'll probably have to add in some kind of guardrails to make sure it doesn't like bet $50 straight away. So maybe get some kind of bankroll management, all that kind of stuff in. So yeah, that's what we're building. Hopefully it's interesting, and we'll see how it works then. Okay. So again, like why it's using saying use odds API and stuff, because that's just not even remotely correct. Right. So what does it actually come up with? So yeah, we should be using Polymarket. Yeah. Yeah, we know this. The odds API, I'm pretty sure, is yeah, I mean, so that's odds on the event. So I don't get why we would need that because Polymarket has its own odds, right? So yeah, so I think API Sports was the one that we wanted. Okay, I still don't understand why you're recommending odds API because Polymarket is the place we're going to be making the bets and it will also have the odds as well. Can you please explain why you want odds API involved in this at all? So yeah, based on the research, system we would need for these components, like the LLM instruction document, interface definition for the stat structure, yeah, and rules how they can write their prediction code, yes. Stats ingestion layer, so pulls from sports API and normalizes into type structure, yeah. Prediction engine runner, sandbox execution of each LLM generated code, yes. Polymarket, discover markets, place bet, track income, outcomes, yeah. Feedback loop collects results, feedback to LLM so they can update their code, yes. Scoreboard comparison, yeah, okay. So that makes sense, all right. Shouldn't recommend it. Polymarket already provides the odds, yeah. Odds, I wanted to compare Polymarket's prices against traditional bookmakers. I mean, we could probably add that in the future, but I don't think there's going to be many arbitrage opportunities. I generally think that, from what I've seen, Polymarket is way better at getting to the odds much quicker anyway. So we just need external API that sports statistics, yeah. Yeah. So revise stack, Polymarket API, correct. API sports, correct. Right, that's fine. Good. Okay, yeah, so let's please create a markdown document with our proposed plan and a brief directory structure for what we're thinking of the code as well, and maybe the potential tech stacks that we're going to have. I want this to be domain driven, so using clean code, nice modular code as well. We're obviously going to need lots of testing as well, so please do consider that. Again, just create a markdown document that we can start planning on. Yeah, I think that's fine. So yeah, with the little tool I built, it's still not clear. Like you still don't get to see what state you're at. So whether it tells us, yeah. So it's just annoying because I guess, yeah, you still don't see. I mean, you see there, but you need to see it in Claude. That's the problem. So yeah, anyone's got any more questions or it's not clear what we're doing, please do let me know and I can answer them. Hopefully the stream is better lag-wise than the other day. Okay, let's just get it to create the document and then we can read through it and see where we are. Go away, chat. Thank you. Right. Yeah, okay. Platform that pits LLMs against each other in sports prediction markets on Polymarket. Each LLM writes and iterates on its own prediction engine. Assumes strongly typed sports statistics and outputs betting decisions. The system places bets on Polymarket and tracks results and feeds outcomes back to each LLM. So it can evolve its strategy, yeah. Okay. So we're suggesting that we use TypeScript and Node.js. Maybe we can use Bun. I've never used Bun. That might be an interesting thing to use. I don't know why it's chosen TypeScript over Python. I'm guessing for the typing. That's fine. PyTest validation, Polymarket SDK, sports data, LLM ingestion. Yeah. database, simple file-based, no infrahead, track bets, results, LLM performance. Yeah, we need to think about database because I will probably deploy it on DigitalOcean, I think. So we need to think about that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so I don't see where it's got the actual code that the LLM is producing here. The actual betting engine as well. Supports the database, the engine, prediction engine orchestration, execute. Okay, we don't need to do that anyway, but yeah. Isolated code execution. Again, no need to do that. Validate prediction engine. Okay, so I mean, it seems to think it's going to be generating the code every single time, but that's not what I'm planning on doing at all. Okay. So, things we are having to change here. So, can we use Bun rather than Node.js? What are the pros and cons of each? Also, we're currently suggesting that we use SQLite as a database. I'm probably going to deploy this on DigitalOcean. So I need to understand whether when we deploy SQLite is going to be good enough for that. I guess it can run in the pod, and then we have the persistent storage. I'm not sure how that's going to work. We need to think about that. If we need to, we can have an RDS, but ideally we don't have to pay for a database. Okay, so that's that aspect. The domain model, I think, kind of looks fine. We've got the market, the event, that's particularly the sports event, the sport, yeah, fixtures, statistics, prediction, the bet itself, the result, competitors. This I don't think is correct. Well, it is kind of correct, but it's yeah. The way that it's structured and the way that it's thinking about it currently isn't correct. Like we're not going to be running the LLM writing its own prediction engine every time. It's just going to be a kind of consistent thing. What the hell's terso.tech? Okay, I mean, I guess we get a free database. That's probably fine. Okay. Stream is not doing well today by the looks of it then. Either people aren't interested in the betting markets, or maybe it's a bad time to be streaming. Oh, we got a dislike on the video. So yeah, yesterday's stream, yeah, it didn't do very well. Wasn't as long of a stream as the other day. Got more likes though, so still learning, still seeing how we get on with the streaming. It's taking a rather long time to do this. Okay, let's see what it says. Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's use bun. Okay, so let's update the research document to use bun. I think let's go with Terso. We're still going to be deploying it on DigitalOcean for clarity, so it's not going to be local, it's going to be deployed. But let's go with Terso rather than having to do the SQLite backups and all that kind of stuff. Okay, right, update the doc, yes. Cool. I don't know why it's gone up to 25 bucks a month there, but it's fine. Okay. So one thing that is not correct is the way that the LLM is going to write the code and run it. So my plan is that we do an initial kind of creation of the LLM's prediction engine. So we give the LLM a prompt, it then writes its own prediction engine. We can have a test suite that it needs to pass to confirm that it's working. I'll probably do that manually, then commit that to the repo. We will then run the code itself. So it doesn't need to be sandboxed or anything because the LLM is not going to be involved in that process. The code will just run. It will come up with a prediction, and then we get the result, and then we pass the result into the LLM along with its own code, and it can then update that code and improve its own engine. So we're not going to need the sandbox stuff. The LLM is going to write the code, we'll run the code, we will then predict the result, and that will be the process. Okay. Oh, and I also need to say that we're probably going to use OpenRouter for the models and stuff. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah, that's much better. One thing I haven't mentioned is we'll probably use OpenRouter That way we can just easily interchange the models and stuff rather than having to wire up each individual model. So let's investigate Open Router and add anything that we need to for that into the planning, into the research document. Okay. I'm not getting many views today on the stream. I wonder whether because it's betting. YouTube doesn't want to promote it. Maybe we'll change the name, shall we? Can AI, let's say, do beat the market? Let's try that and see if it gets a better push from YouTube. So, yeah. Building just one little product on stream today. We did 2 the other day. People found it a little bit confusing, perhaps. So, just going to stick with one for the moment. But the problem with that is we do have a lot of downtime when Claude is doing its stuff. Nothing too interesting on Hacker News today. Has Hack My Claude been hacked? Still no. Doesn't look like that many people are getting involved with it now. Seems to have slowed down a lot. Okay, I think this kind of all makes sense. The only thing I haven't actually clarified is around the crypto keys for the wallets and stuff. Let's ask about that. How do we manage the actual private keys for the crypto betting on Polymarket? So I assume you just have it as a end variable on DigitalOcean, and then it just grabs it when it actually needs the bet. How does it actually work with the Polymarket API? I don't know what's that WordPress flows. That's not even remotely correct. Two-tier system, signs locally, yeah. Yeah, let's go with the first option, and yeah, please add it to the research doc. Hello, viewer. Please do get involved. Any questions, let me know. So we're currently building a prediction engine for the Polymarket sports events. I'm basically going to pit the LLMs against each other. So they're going to write their own betting engine, prediction engine, and we will run it, come up with a prediction, place a bet for it, and then we can increment and see which LLM can beat the markets, hopefully, or more likely, which one loses the least money. Okay. So I think with Workflow Pilot, we then move on to the next stage. So yeah, again, it would be nice if you could see which stage we're on. Trade-offs. What would you like me to focus on first? Plan, system. Let's focus on just getting the repository set up and the rough directory structure. So we should just have basically a very simple server and all that kind of stuff, no actual implementation logic of the code. So let's just focus on the initial project setup, and once we've got that, we can move on to other things. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Yeah, plan.md is probably not the right place for it. We probably need it to be in a features, and then let's move the plan to a features directory, and then in the features directory, let's create another folder that's just project setup, and then that can have the plan file. So for each future plan we do, it needs to be in its own particular feature branch. Let's also create a branch that is just, actually no, let's just stick on main for now. I can get rid of that because we don't care about it. Okay. Okay, so let's have a look at the plan, shall we? So, project scaffolding, tooling, directory structure, minimal running server, no business logic, correct, Amendo. It's initialized bun. I don't actually think I've got bun installed, so yeah, it's gonna have to install bun. I don't actually have bun installed, so let's make sure that it is installed as part of the plan. So we've got some config for TypeScript for JSON. Yeah, that's fine. Install dependencies. Yeah, that's fine. Why is OpenAI dependency? Oh, that's Open Router. I'm not sure that's correct, is it? We need to double check that. No, that's not right at all, really, is it? It should be Open Router, I think. I imagine they've got an NPM package. Yeah, I don't quite get. I assume they've got an SDK overview. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. That's not fine, that's fine, that's probably fine. Why have we got OpenAI as a dependency? We're using Open Router. I don't know what biome JS is. Linter and formatter. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, that's probably fine. Yeah, that's probably fine. Yeah. Minimal entry point. Yeah, that's probably absolutely fine. One thing we do need is probably CI as well. Is that their recommendation? Let's please use the OpenRouter TypeScript SDK. I know it's in beta, but we can just pin the version. No viewers today on the stream. Okay, we also need to have a GitHub's actions for the CI, so running tests and then pushing. We also need to have a DigitalOcean deployment file as well, so that we can deploy to the droplet. And we also need some way to run migrations as well. I don't think we've got that covered, so let's think about that. Probably a CI task to run migrations manually as well, please. Yeah, so I don't think it covered that at all, really, did it? So we do have Drizzle, but there's nothing about actually running it. So that definitely needs fixing. So yeah, it's been a while since I've done any JavaScript, so a lot of these kind of tools and projects are fairly new to me. Never used Bun. I've never used Drizzle ORM, nor have I used Terso before. or never use Polymarket or any of the Ether stuff either. Cool. Okay, so I think that's probably okay for our plan for the moment. So once we're in the plan stage, what's the next one that happens here? Plan, annotate. Oh, okay, so he basically adds notes rather than doing just a check. I don't know how he adds notes, whether there's anything about that. Yeah, okay, so let's just see if there's anything we want to add. So it's going to install barn, initialize, do some TypeScript config, create the package JSON, install the dependencies. I think we're all okay with those so far. Yeah, they're fine. That's just linting stuff. We then got the end stuff. Update and get ignore. So they're going to create an empty directory structure, which should be fine. I think it all makes sense. Okay. The docs need to update the fact that we now have a features project directory. Minimal entry point. Yeah. And config, that's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. Test. Manual triggered workflow, yeah. Make this manual, please. One thing we're not doing is we're not using Docker. Probably much easier to use Docker with all this kind of stuff, actually. So notes. Let's use Docker as it makes the deployment way easier. Let's also add some code standards. So following DDD, TDD, clean code. I've added some notes to the plan. Please address all these notes. It will be note and then the actual note itself. Hopefully we get those addressed and then we can move on to the next stage, which is technically I'm already in, actually. So yeah, this workflow pilot isn't really working as I wanted it because we just don't have any visualization on the CLI because Claude code just won't allow it. Stream is doing terrible today. So yeah, actually one thing we don't have in the plan is I probably want to follow the pattern of asserts in the code. So we want to fail if, well, we want to do an assert, and then if the assert fails, we'd rather crash than just keep running the code. Okay, I think we can advance. Get a bit bigger. Oh, we entirely lost Ghosty there. That's annoying. Continue to do list stage. What the actual I wanted to, should be WP status, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that actually was pretty helpful. Still got nothing in the UI though, which is a bit annoying. I wonder whether we can work out some way to do that. So with the tool currently, when we're in Claude Code, we have no visual way of knowing what stage we're in the plan. Is there any way we can do that on the terminal to have like some clear visual thing, even when running Claude? Okay, so we should have a to-do list now. So barn, tsconfig, directory structure, yeah. Okay, I think we can go ahead and implement that. Let's check to, I don't quite understand that one. WP advance. Yeah, it doesn't quite work, does it? So, yeah. Should have barn permissions, I think. Give it. So yeah, I'm guessing the fact that we had betting in the name of the stream has entirely removed us from the search stuff, which is unfortunate. Stream is getting no views. Doesn't look like it's being pushed at all. Yeah, it's just getting nowhere, is it really?